Stop watching porn today. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, sporting my Ruth Bader Ginsburg look, here to tell you 2 things that you can do starting right now to be able to leave porn behind with greater ease. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share with you an offensive approach. As I talk about it, something that you can do to make changes in your life so that you can be more successful with your porn brain reboot. Number 2, I'm going to give you a defensive approach so that you can, in times of need, be able to apply a defensive move that is very strong to help you move forward with leaving it behind. Okay, we need offense, we need defense, but to win the game, you need a strong offense. So, number 1, the offensive move that you are going to do to be more successful is you're going to change something in your life. I know it's not rocket science, but it's neuroscience. What we're talking about in this video is you have to make changes and then reward your brain for the positive changes that you've made. So you hear me talk about the 2 forks in the road that your brain needs to be able to shift from. You need to shift from the left fork that you've been taking for a very long time that leads you to pornography consumption, to masturbation, to anxiety, to depression, to erectile dysfunction, delayed ejaculation, the list goes on and on. You need to stop using that path to the left and you need to start using the path to the right. That path leads you to creating new routines and habits, getting on purpose in your work, your relationships, your hobbies, being able to create the life that you want so you don't have to escape into pornography for a super normal stimulus to give your brain a massive dopamine dump to escape and feel okay. So the number 1 way to do that is to create your offensive plan. Now you say to yourself, I'm not going to watch porn anymore. What are you going to do instead? I want you to list the 5 things you are going to do with your time instead of watching pornography. If you can't come up with 5, come up with at least 2. Come up with the plan of what you're going to do in the time pockets that you use to watch porn. What are you going to do if that's in the day? And what are you going to do if that occurs at night? Because they might not be the same activities. The goal in creating the new thing that you're going to do is to create connection for you in the day with other people. And if it's at nighttime, connection to something that you love that's dopamine producing at healthier levels. So in the day, maybe you're going to play basketball. Maybe you're going to call a friend. Maybe you're going to take your dog for a walk. Those are healthy dopamine producing activities that get you out of isolation into connection so you can feel good, get a dopamine release in your brain, and stay away from the habit. At nighttime, that might not be as easy. So you want to do something non-triggery that gives your brain dopamine and connects you to something you love. Read a book that you like. That might be tricky too in the short run. Listen to music that makes you feel good. Watch TV that you find uplifting. Do something that might be cheating in the right direction. Play video games for a little bit, not for a lot, because that can be a trigger and lead you down the slippery slope. Put something else in the time when you used to watch pornography. Set yourself up for success with a strong offensive plan. Then number 2, you need a defense plan. If a thought pops into your mind that you are going to watch porn, you need to know how you're going to pivot. You need to know exactly what you're going to do, but you also have to give your brain a little dose of cortisol just for the thought. So if you get the thought, the old school strategy is to have a rubber band on your wrist and snap it hard. When you give your wrist a snap, you get a shot of cortisol into your nervous system. That would be a negative consequence instead of a positive reward for the thought that you're going to watch porn. Now, if you act out and you actually go through the porn cycle and you get the thought, you're triggered, and then you start ritualizing it and getting excited that you're going to watch pornography, your brain's starting to get a dopamine flood, just so you know. And then when you actually act out, your brain is getting the deluge of dopamine. It is getting massive flood of those neurochemicals that will make your brain feel numb and help you escape. After that, what happens, that's the A effect, higher dopamine. The B effect is lower dopamine with higher cortisol. And those are going to be the moments where you regret, or maybe you have despair or shame or guilt. You're feeling lower, you're feeling moody, you're feeling more anxious. When you come around after that high, you need to deliver a bigger consequence to yourself. Your brain will continue to go back to something that makes it feel good. So if you go through that cycle and you give your brain a massive dopamine dump without a negative consequence, it's just relearned again that that's a good thing to do. You have to give it a negative consequence that says you're not doing that anymore, because if you do that, here is what happens. This is the negative consequence that happens. The negative consequence can be having to wash your kitchen floor if you totally despise that. It might be going grocery shopping if that's something your partner does. Choose something you don't want to have to do. You've heard me say in past videos, but it's been sparking comments, that you can donate money to the opposite political party. I'm not political at all, so you can donate money to something that doesn't vibe with you, that doesn't excite you, that creates angst with you giving money to it, a foundation that you just don't believe in, because you want to give your brain and your nervous system a shot of cortisol, a negative feedback. Do something that you do not like. Give yourself a little pinch if you have the thought to stop the dopamine from flowing, to get the cortisol going before you slip down the slippery slope. And if you go down that slippery slope, you have to deliver a bigger consequence that tells your brain, don't do that anymore, because something negative will happen. Now, I have to have a little caveat. This is not punishment. I'm obviously not into self-punishment. What I am into is training your brain. It's Pavlovian in nature. It's based on classical conditioning, which is Pavlov's dog. It builds upon that one step further. It's called operant conditioning, meaning that we condition your brain to perform in a certain way, which will get you outcomes and behaviors that are better than what you have going on right now. You're going to feel better. You're not going to go down that slippery slope anymore. And then you're going to have better outcomes. People are going to start noticing that you're happier and people want to be around you more. That's going to feed back Hebb's Law and help you keep burning those neural pathways in your brain. And while you do that, because you gave yourself the reward for going down this pathway, you gave yourself the consequence for going back to porn, you're going to keep going down the pathway, the fork to the right. You're going to keep building the neural pathways for change that you want to, because you are here and you've committed to leave pornography behind, because you are now aware that it is shrinking your brain and creating underactivity. It's frying out the reward center in the middle of your brain. It is frying out your prefrontal cortex, which will make it more difficult for you to work. It will make it so that you're angstier, you're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, your relationships are going to become strained, you're not going to be able to get enough of the Kool-Aid from pornography unless you keep ramping it up, and things will get worse for you. Anxiety, depression, erectile dysfunction, lots of bad things. You are here, you are committed. So give your brain the consequence if it tries to go back. Not today, sir. No way, dude. Tell your brain you are not going down that path today. Instead, you're going to take the new neural pathway for permanent change. If you would like help in that journey, please reach out to me at drtrishleigh.com. I have programs of all shapes and sizes that can help you for what you need right now in your life, and I'd love to help you on that journey. And remember, control your brain or it'll control you.